Alright everyone, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. Going to begin to the Travelers Championship picks, previews, and core plays. But first, I always like to do that quick recap of the previous week. Pretty awesome last week in terms of our top three players. We'll get into that a little bit more, but Jon Rahm, the clear-cut play on the board last week, ends up winning it. He's really been kind of the best player over the past 2 months, really, on the PGA Tour. Over the past two tournaments in which he's got a fully prep for, he's won. He won the Memorial, and then he won the U.S. Open last week, obviously. One other strange thing is Louis Oosthuizen not being chalk. I mean, the guy was a clear-cut play last week as well. Really no reason to fade him other than the fact that you had no reason to fade him. The only thing I could come up with on the 9-5 write-up was that, Louis Oosthuizen, he might not have the winning upside. And sure as shit, that came through on Sunday with this choke job on 17. But very weird. And I just want to remind you guys, never fade a top play because they are chalky. It's just the dumbest logic that there is out there. Now, sure, if you have some sort of reasons to fade them, then that's fine. If you chose to fade Xander last week, there are some reasons behind that. Xander overall was a great play, but he had missed two cuts at that tournament or at that course previously. Okay, a lot of that could have been due to the fact that hometown pressure. That could have been the direct reason, given the fact that he had a major as well going on that week for the U.S. Open. Could have given you another reason to say, hey, he's going to have added pressure, might want to fade him this week. But for Louis, there literally was no reason to fade him. Clearly underpriced, best pick on the 9-5 model. I don't get it. Very weird, but overall pretty fun week, and we'll touch on that here right now. So yes, in the video last week, we gave you guys, some really good core plays: Collin Morikawa, Louis Oosthuizen, and then also Paul Casey. Ended up, as the week went on, always refined it a little bit. The core plays for me ended up being Jon Rahm, Louis Oosthuizen, and Collin Morikawa. Okay, that is absolutely spectacular. Literally, our top three players finished first, second, and fourth. They were all on the betting card. It's a fun week there. And then kind of just going over that a little bit further as well. The 9-5 betting card has been absolutely, I don't want to say elite, but kind of has been. So over this season, we've had a guy finish second place that was on our betting card in over 45% of the tournaments. And then if you factor in players that have won, we have had either the second place finisher or the first place finisher in over 50% of the events. If we're looking over the last 7 weeks, in all but one tournament, we've had a player finish first or second. So kind of crazy there. But just looking at the U.S. Open here, cut percentage was 69%. Full disclosure, that is excluding the value plays. I made it very clear that I did not want people dipping down into that value tier price point range. It was just a range that I thought was a dead range. It would kind of ruin your builds. I would much rather just rebuild last week than play someone in the value tier. Players that finished in the top 20 last week were pretty good. 37% of the player pool did that. And then top 5, 15% of the player pool did that. Obviously, Rahm, Usti, Morikawa. Then we also had Harris English, which was awesome. Overall, not a bad week, obviously, when you nail your core plays. The bad part that I had was that the high-end plays, the high-exposure plays, were kind of my bad part of the week. Webb Simpson, Corey Connors missed the cut. Victor Hovland's withdrawal actually really hurt. Ended up on him in a lot of builds. Ended up on him in my main build. Was still able to cash because I went Collin Morikawa and Louis Oosthuizen. Had 3 out of 6 across the cut line. Was still able to cash. That kind of goes back to what I always echo, is that if you do the things correctly throughout the long term, you're going to have some success. And obviously having, 2 of the top 3 plays on the 9-5 player pool in my main build ended up being, a pretty successful week. But now moving on into this week, we've got the Travelers Championship. So with the Travelers Championship, we also know what to expect from this one, which is nice. It's nice to have these tournaments in which we know what to expect. So the last 4 winners at this tournament have been Dustin Johnson, Chez Reavie, Bubba Watson, and Jordan Spieth. Really, anyone can go out and win this tournament. That's kind of what's fun about it, but it is definitely a shorter track. It's less than 7,000 yards, the par 70 as well. And so that kind of brings in some of the key stats I'll touch on in here in just a second. The cut line is going to be -2. So for once, really over the past 3 months, we're going to be looking at some scoring stats. Birdie or better percentage is actually going to be a key stat. Typically when, the cut line's over par, I like to look at bogey avoidance. That's just something I like to look at. But, this week we don't have that. So key stats are going to be effective scoring. Once again, that's my 9-5 stat there. That's going to be scoring differential, strokes gained total, strokes gained tee to green, and then scoring before the cut. Just combining those all to really get a effective ranking there. We're going to be looking at strokes gained approach, par 4 scoring, and strokes gained putting. The players that went out and won here and also played well here have really dominated in par 4 scoring, obviously par 70, strokes gained approach, and strokes gained putting. And then birdie or better percentage over birdie to bogey ratio and bogey avoidance. Some of those top stats fits are going to be Abraham Ancer, Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns, Joaquin Niemann, Harris English, Bryson DeChambeau, and Charlie Hoffman. Players that have good course history are going to be Dustin Johnson, which Dustin Johnson, he went out and won this tournament last year. That was his only start here last year, which is kind of the theme here. Will Gordon had one start at this tournament, 3rd place finish last year. Doc Redman has one start here, 11th place finish last year. But then we get into Paul Casey. Paul Casey has elite course history. Over the last 4 years, he's finished 32nd, 5th, 2nd, and 5th. Pretty good there. Brendan Todd, one start, 11th place finish. Patrick Cantlay, 4 straight starts here, 6th, 8th, 9th, 26th place finish. Or that was Bryson DeChambeau. I apologize. Bryson DeChambeau did that. Patrick Cantlay is 11th, 15th, and 15th. Kevin Struman, really good course history, 2nd, 15th, 33rd, and 8th place finish. So really strong course history for a lot of these guys here, especially on the top end range. And that's something I'll dive into a little bit more here while I'm kind of doing the preview. But just looking at players that are in good recent form, Guido, one start. So this is where I didn't want to change it. He had a 4th place finish at the U.S. Open. Obviously played well on the European Tour. David Lipsky, 2 straight May cuts in a row. 8th place finish at the Palmetto Championship. That's why he's included in there. Will Gordon, over the past 10 weeks, his only start was the Palmetto Championship. 14th place finish. Matthew Wolff, 1 start. Good place finish at the U.S. Open, but also played at the Dell, I believe. Dell Match Play. Top 30 finish there. Abraham Ancer, miscut at the U.S. Open, but before that, 14th, 8th, 2nd, 5th, 18th. But he also did have a miscut on the European Tour. Hank Lebioda, Brian Harmon, and Charlie Hoffman are kind of the players rounding that out there for the tournament preview. But kind of just diving into it a little bit more, I want to just break it down a little bit further before we dive down into it. So just kind of talking about this tournament, just looking at the high-end picks, 7 out of the top 10 picks in the 9-5 model are high tier plays. Okay, so that's going to tell me 2 things. 1, it shouldn't be chalky in that range. Okay, it just shouldn't. But 2, it's going to be very hard to really nail down which players that you should be playing on that high tier price point range, because it's going to be difficult to pick and choose because we have so many good quality plays. It's a very top heavy week. We also do want to point out the fact that we have 2 top 10 stat rank plays also in there that do not rank top 10 in the model. So one of those players are Patrick Cantlay, the other one's Scotty Scheffler. We already seen Patrick Cantlay go on and win. Scotty Scheffler, elite stat fit, he could easily go on and win this one as well. So that top end range is going to be very difficult. And another player, Brooks Koepka, is not ranking out well there just because, horrible recent form in tournaments that are not majors. So very interesting week there. But now let's dive down into it. It's going to be a fun one. All right, guys, so getting into the high tier picks here, obviously I always like to highlight the top 4 players in each price point range, and that's based off of upside, but also cut likelihood. Okay, we got to factor in all this together, and that's how you really nail down your player pool. For me, Bryson DeChambeau is going to be the clear-cut pick this week. The only worry with him that I have is kind of that mental hurdle that he had at the U.S. Open. Really, he had a back nine that all of us golfers are pretty familiar with, where you have one of your best rounds going, you really geared up to it, and then you just have 1 or 2 shots mentally that really get to you. There goes your round. Still finished top 26. That's fine. It's been in good recent form. 18th, 38th, 5th, 9th, 42nd, 42nd, and 3rd place finish. Now that's fine. Ranks top 14 in recent form rank. That's all right. But course history rank is where he's really good. 6th, 8th, 9th, and 26th place finisher. That is spectacular. Obviously ranked 2nd best in the model. We look at the stats. 2nd best in par 4 scoring. 45th in strokes gained approach, 5th in effective scoring, which is absolutely elite, guys. Birdie or better percentage, 5th. Strokes gained putting, 48th. Good drives gain percentage. That is going to be interesting because this is a course where, good drives are going to be better than looking at driving distance. So it'll be interesting to see if he decides to club down this week because, well, this is a tournament that you probably should do that at. So it'd be very interesting to see if Bryson actually chooses to go out and do that this week. And we're going to be looking at Patrick Cantlay, Patrick Cantlay is another one of those picks that I really don't mind this week. 2nd best Stafford. I just want to remind you guys, the last time that he was a top 3 Stafford, he went out and won. Okay, so that being said, that was a tournament in which he also had pretty good course history. 11th, 15th, and 15th at this course. TPC Highlands there. Elite Stafford here, guys. Top 30 or better in par 4 scoring, strokes gained approach, effective scoring, birdie or better percentage, and ball striking. Really not too worried about his putting. It seems like that is back now as well. Patrick Cantlay kind of looking like a good play. He also has made the cut in his last 3 events: 15th at the U.S. Open, 11th or first place finish at the Memorial, and 25th place finish or 23rd place finish at the PGA Championship. So yeah, Patrick Cantlay to me is technically checking all the boxes. Really like Patrick Cantlay as a pick this week. But then we get into Paul Casey and also Kevin Streelman. These are both going to be picks that I'll talk about later. Once again, I always say the core plays for the end of the video, so stay tuned for the end of the video. Those are going to be 2 players that I highlight a little bit more in depth. Obviously, they're ranking out really well. Paul Casey is going to be the first best player in the model. Just want to remind you guys how good the model has been. Last week, Louis Oosthuizen, best player in the model, finished second. 2 weeks ago, Tarayan, best player in the model, finished second. Week before that, John Rahm, best player in the model, finished first. But true, whatever. It's been consistently that good in terms of like the best player in the model. So, definitely something to keep an eye on. But now we'll move down into those mid-tier price point plays. All right, so now moving down to the mid-tier price point plays. Could have had a bunch of quality picks here. Brian Harman's going to be another one of those players that I will be touching on later on in this video. Yes, it's going to be a core play. Looking like a spectacular play. One thing that I want to point out just real quick as well. His betting odds compared to his salary is vastly different. He ranks like top 10 in terms of betting odds. Salary is a little bit lower than would be expected with that being the case. So that's something I'll touch on a little bit later on as well. But getting into Charlie Hoffman, I was very close to making Charlie Hoffman a core play as well. I don't know, I'm kind of worried that there might be a little bit of wear and tear on him. Look at his recent tournaments. 1 weekend off. 57th place finish at the U.S. Open. That's a tournament that you grind. Memorial Tournament. That's also a tournament that you grind. Played well at the Charles Schwab Challenge. Played well at the PGA Championship. He's been playing well really this whole year. 13 straight make cuts in a row. Has pretty good course history here. 41st, missed cut, 15th, 3rd. Really, if I hadn't made him like the core play in pretty much all the past videos, I probably would have done it for this video, but didn't want to be too repetitive for you guys. Top 7 stat fit. The worry with him is going to be really, par 4 scoring. Doesn't rank out well in that, but top 10 strokes gained approach, effective scoring, top 30, birdie or better percentage, top 30, top 60 in strokes gained putting and ball striking. I'm fine with that. Charlie Hoffman looking like a spectacular pick at this price point, and then Siwoo Kim as well. Siwoo Kim, shorter course. This is a course where his strokes gained approach should be much better than it is right now. 69th on tour, not horrible. Still ranks out top 20 as a stat fit this week. 21st in par 4 scoring. We like to see that. Really nothing too alarming. We expect him to have a better putting week. Top 17 in the model, has good course history. 11th miscut and 26th. Obviously the miscut worries us a little bit, but overall really do like Siwoo Kim as a pick this week. Recent form, really other than the miscut at the PGA Championship, which was not a good event for him, I'm playing really well. Even the US Open, not the best event for him. 40th, 8th, 9th before that. Made cut the Byron Nelson. 33rd, 12th, 23rd, 56th, and 9th place finish. So yeah, Siwoo Kim been playing some good golf. Like him at this price point. Then Harris English. Harris English is almost, I don't want to say, like he's almost a better outright pick than he is DFS pick, but that's mostly due to the fact that he has bad course history. 71st, and then 2 missed cuts. So really hasn't played this course well, which is kind of surprising because kind of think of Harris English, you would think he'd play well at a course like this. Top 15 in birdie or better percentage, top 10 in par 4 scoring, top 36 or better in effective scoring, strokes gained putting, and ball striking. It's kind of weird that he hasn't played well at this tournament. Top 5 stat fit. Really getting knocked because of that course history. But if we look at his recent form, been pretty darn good. Kind of had that lull after his victory, but now he seems to be bouncing back very well. 3rd place finish at the U.S. Open last week. Played well at the Palmetto Championship. Made the cut at the PGA Championship. 13th place finish before that. Yeah, Harris English has been playing some good golf. Very strange price point for him. 8.2. Definitely a low price point for Harris English. I mean, he really should be a 9K play just due to his name value and how well he's been playing. Just kind of shocking there. But that's all the picks here for the mid-tier price point range. Let's get into that low-tier price point range. All right, so now moving down to that low-tier price point range, I do want to start off with saying that this price point range was very hard to really dial down and decide which players not to play. You got Ricky Fowler playing some good golf. Chris Kirk is a guy that we played a decent amount this year. I think he's going to be in a good spot. There's a bunch of other names that you could end up on that I wouldn't blame you. Like Stuart Singh's one of those guys that has been playing really well. It's very tough to like nail down the top 4 because it's all kind of close. But the top 4 that I end up on are all players that rank top 20 in the model this week. We'll start off with someone like Keegan Bradley. Keegan Bradley kind of hit or miss. Obviously, we don't love that. Miscut here last year, then a second, 47th, and 8th place finish. So that's really good. He is coming off of that chalky disappointment at the Memorial. I don't think he's going to be chalky this week, which I honestly think he is one of those guys that hears their name getting talked up that week, and it's just added pressure on them, and he goes on and, sucks pretty much. But prior to that, played really great golf, 5 straight top 30 finishes or better. Keegan Bradley going to be a top 30 stat fit, ranks top 13 in the model this week. Don't mind him as a pick. Doesn't have the best projected odds to make the cut, 62nd there, where you could go with some like Sam Burns, whose projected cut likelihood is a little bit better, 65%. He's made 2 straight cuts here at this event, a 24th and a 43rd place finish. Overall, really good stat fit, 3rd best stat fit this week. And we just look at it. Nothing alarming. Top 54 or better in all the stats that we're looking at. He's also first in birdie or better percentage. All signs point to Sam Burns going out and making the cut. Now, he didn't make the cut at the U.S. Open. Really, not the best course for him. He was a guy that if you played him last week, you kind of just ended up on him because of his price point, because of the fact that he had been playing some decent golf prior to that. So prior to that, 50th, 2nd, 1st, and 39th. It does feel a little bit more of it like a dart throw, but overall, do like him as a pick this week. 7.7, a little bit too much to pay for him, but kind of the theme in this price point range. Going to someone like Doc Redman, 11th place finisher last year. Overall, not the best at it. A lot of alarming stats here, a lot of red here. Pretty much, he needs to putt better. And then if he does, then his birdie or better percentage is going to be a little bit better, and his effective scoring is going to be a little bit better. Always been a good ball striker, always been good strokes gained approach and par 4 scoring. He has also made the cut in his last 4 events, 2nd, 42nd, 59th, and 9th place finish. So obviously he has been trending in the right direction. So Doc Redman, don't mind as a pick, 7.6, not that bad. And then Brendan Todd, I do want to bring up because once again, like Harris English, Brendan Todd's kind of the same thing where if you just think about the key stats and think about this tournament, you see the length even. This is a tournament in which Brendan Todd, you would think would go out and play well. And he did last year, 11th place finish. Let's just look at kind of the key stats. 21st in par 4 scoring, 2nd in strokes gained putting, and 8th in good drive percentage. Really liking that. Wish these other stats would be a little bit better. Wish he was a little bit better in ball striking, 139. Strokes gained approach, 179. Obviously, that's not that good, but he still ranks at top 30 stat fit wise. We didn't really expect him to make the cut at the U.S. Open or PGA Championship. But prior to that, other events, 53rd at the Memorial, 8th at the Charles Schwab Challenge, 39th at the RBC Heritage, 46th at the Masters. Played okay at Dell, 35th place finish at the Players. Solid price point here for Brendan Todd, a guy that I expect to make the cut. Top 18 play in the model this week. All right, so now we move down into that value tier price point range. So the value tier is a very interesting price point range as a whole. So just some other players I think we could end up on in this price point range. I don't want to touch on them too much. Don't want this video to go too long. Just looking at like David Lipsky, you could end up on. Adam Hadwin, I don't mind. Henrik Norlander, very strong par 4 scorer. Steve Stricker has actually been playing really well this year, except for on the senior tour lately. Kind of been struggling lately. I think he had just needed to recover a little bit, took a couple weekends off. Think he could make the cut. Chase Seifert's really popping up. Hank Lebioda is really popping up. Nate Taylor I could see making the cut. And then freaking Vincent Whaley, once again, 6.4. DraftKings like, all right, one missed cut, and you're back down there. It's like, man, what's going on there? This is a much better course for him this week. 6.4, that is just appetizing there. Okay, I've hit on Vincent Whaley a ton, way before a lot of other people. I don't want to dwell on him today. 6.4, great price point for him. Kind of trying to mix it up a little bit this week. Going to start off, though, with touching on Ryan Armour, and then I'm going to do a little bit deeper dive. So Ryan Armour, great course history here, 6th, 54th, 56th. We kind of look at it, birdie or better percentage, strong there, 70th. It's not strong. It's not bad. Strokes gained putting, 30th in that, or top 30. Good drive percentage, 11th in that. Top 46 stat fit, that's not great, but that's not horrible. But he has been playing better recently. Over his last 2 starts, 8th and a 26th place finish. We'll take that. Obviously, we're reaching for stuff there, but I don't mind that. And then we look at someone like Ryan Palmer. Ryan Palmer, this is kind of how he's been lately, I guess, if you will. Miscut, top 15, and a miscut. That's kind of Ryan Palmer. But he's top 14 in par 4 scoring and good drive percentage. He's kind of been a little bit hit or miss, I guess, if you will. He's coming off of a miscut at the AT&T. Byron Nelson, he didn't play horrible, shot -2, but the cut was very low that week. Obviously, that didn't really work well for him at -2. I think it was like -6 that week. So, yeah, Ryan Moore at this price point is something that I could see, 5% in GPPs, don't mind it. I do want to pull up Troy Merritt and Satoshi Kodaira here on the 9 to 5 specialist page because this is what it's used for. This is what you guys should be using it for. So let me zoom out just slightly here. So this is Kodaira here. So over his last 3 weeks, been playing pretty darn well. We can see stroke gain putting has been elite. 9th, 12th, and 23rd over his last 3 events. Birdie or better percentage has been well. 22nd, 8th, and 8th there as well. We just scroll down here as well. We can kind of see how he's been playing. Would rank out as someone that we expect to make the cut. So Kodaira, I don't mind. Then let's pull up Troy Money Merritt. All right, a lot of people know I like Merritt, but he has been playing well. It's arguably, good spot for him. Now, I still need to get the U.S. Open data loaded up in here as well, but Troy Merritt to me is going to be a pretty solid pick this week, especially if we just look over his last few starts. So his last few starts have been good. He's made the cut in now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He made the cut the U.S. Open. So 5 out of his last 6 events, he's made the cut in. Really been playing well, putting really well. 2nd, 12th, 22nd. Really like that. Strokes gained approach could be a little bit better, but not horrible. As a value pick, I don't mind him because, well, he's a guy that has shown the upside. As you guys can see, 7th, 7th, and 8th. And then if we just pull him up here on this page as well, we can see that he also has had the upside here at this tournament as well. Give it a second to load. Zoom it in. Get out the specialist page. But yeah, we can see 3 made cuts here and a top 8 finish. Also miscut mixed in there. Not going to grade out that well. He does grade out someone that should be right around a made cut. But for him, I feel like it's going to be like a top 20 finish or a miscut, which we obviously don't mind at this price point range. But that is enough of the picks. Let's get into the core plays here for you guys right now. All right, so the first core play I'm going to touch on is going to be Paul Casey. You guys probably all saw that coming just based on the fact that I told you guys it was coming, but he really is just going to be a great pick. Now, I always like to only look at the last 4 years of course history because that's when it's the most relevant, but guys, he's been elite at this course. He's finished 32nd, 5th, 2nd, 5th, 17th, 2nd at TPC River Highlands, so obviously been really good here at this course as a whole throughout his career. He's going to rank out really well as well. We look at the key stats. He ranks top 36 or better in par 4 scoring, ball striking, strokes gained approach, and effective scoring. He's going to be the top pick in the 9 to 5 mile this week. I already kind of echoed it. Just the fact that the 9 to 5 mile has been very accurate, especially in terms of players that have went out and been the top rated player in the model. One thing I do want to mention though with Paul Casey is the fact that last week people got the full Paul Casey experience. He went from almost missing the cut to almost, having a chance to go on and win, and then kind of letting people down. That is just like the full roller coaster ride of Paul Casey. Really just a fun play each and every week in DFS because of that, but can be, can give you guys a little bit of gray hairs there, I guess, if you will. But yeah, ranking out well. You look at his recent form: 7th, 4th, 21st, missed cut, 26th, 28th, and a 5th place finish. We like that. Course history, obviously I already touched on that. Really looked good there. Just really no reason to fade Paul Casey except for possibly the price point, and if you worry about his winning upside, that'd be the only reason I could see to not pick him this week. Moving on to the next core play. That's going to be Kevin Streelman. Kevin Streelman, I really do like. The only problem with him is going to be his price point. In terms of players that are priced up to where they're not normally, that's going to be Kevin Streelman. He's priced up a lot higher than he normally is. Everyone else in this price point range really is priced where they normally are, maybe except for Patrick Reed, Paul Casey. I don't really get why DraftKings and other companies don't like him during majors, but he always, kind of gets priced down there. But other than that, typically priced up this high as well. If we're looking at Kevin Streelman, he has great course history here as well. 2nd, 15th, 33rd, and 8th place finish over the last 4 years. So, 3 out of the last 4 years, he's had a top 15 or better finish. And all of them have been top 35 or better, which we'll take. He also is a former winner at this tournament, which we do like to see. He's made 5 straight cuts on tour, which have been really good. 15th, 13th, 20th, and 8th place finish. He had 26th place finish before that. Miscut the Valspar, 33rd, and 9th place finish. So yeah, Kevin Streelman's been playing some great golf, really since the start of 2021. Overall, he ranks out as the 4th best player in the model. The only worry with him is going to be his putting, where he ranks 100. All right, so before we close that, I just want to show you guys kind of the new easy tool you might have saw during the video. It's going to be kind of the lineup builder tool. If you guys are someone that does a main build like me, this is going to be a fun tool. So kind of just add in the players that you want. Paul Casey, Kevin Strillman, really like those guys. Let's see if we can make a build with our core plays. Brian Harman, and then the last one was Kyle Stanley. He's already in there. I did mention I wanted Charlie Hoffman as well. He's someone that I could end up on. We'll put him in there. So, you know, we won't really be able to make this build work, I don't think, but let's see. Obviously, we need to get to 50K. We need 6 players. Let's see. Stuart Sink, a little bit over. Let's go lower. I don't know. Let's just throw someone random in there. One of the value plays, Troy Money Merritt. Let's put him in there. So still 2 over. Let's see. Who's someone else we could do? Sam Ryder, sure. All right, Sam Ryder makes us be able to do this build. That's fine. Don't really like Sam Ryder as a pick, though. I want to see if we could do someone else. Whatever. But this kind of tells you guys, with this specific build, you'd have about a 66% chance to make the cut. You got $100 left over on the salary. Not a horrible pick, not a horrible lineup, but obviously, you know, including Sam Ryder in there makes it pretty ugly as a whole. Overall, we'd want someone a little bit better than Sam Ryder, but kind of just a fun feature that's going to be available on the cheat sheet for you guys this week as well. But that is all I have for you guys for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, please make sure to give me a like and subscribe. I do appreciate that. If you guys want to join 9 to 5 Nation, you know, the best model in PGA DFS, you know, I've been hesitant to say that, but it really has been in terms of like predicting the winner, especially after like round 1. Kind of spectacular there. Obviously, I told you guys how well just the model has been able to pretty much predict either second or first place finishes on the betting card. Core plays have been really well. You know, it gives you all the tools that you need to succeed, and you know, too much more, honestly. I like to keep it simple. That's why all the stuff is curated to you guys, the DFS player. If you guys want to join 9 to 5 Nation, link is in the description below. It's gonna be $10 a month. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and as always, let's keep cashing.